My name is Samuel Trapp. I am the Russian-speaking American. I have a channel on YouTube that I speak Russian or in English. I am beginning to tell my story of corruption in the legal system in America. And I wish it wasn't true, but everything I tell you is going to be exactly true. And if you want to look at the end of the story first and see if you can get to the end, I'll tell you how the corruption works all the way to the top and have a suggestion for how we can fix it. And the corruption in America begins and ends with the legal system in America. Our legal system is in need of some serious overhaul. I'm a victim of that system, and it's corrupt and inbred Democrat policies, and it goes all the way to the very top. And it's the same reason that I feel the exact same way about the Congress and House, well, the entire Congress, House of Representatives and the Senate, both state and federal levels, but right now I'm talking federal, need to be limited seriously in the power that they get to accumulate and the wealth that they get to accumulate, more importantly, over the years. I'll say that I sent a letter to everyone in the government levels. I even sent a couple on the federal level that have an influence on my licensing process to become an attorney in the state of Missouri. Corrupt as hell. Missouri is backwards. Missouri has the smallest state capital in the United States, and it is run by the same old group. And that group is the Missouri Bar. The most powerful organization in Missouri isn't some I don't know what political system, some huge business leader. It's the Missouri Bar. And if they wish to destroy someone, they do. And you can go read about me. I'm an open book, and a very open book. Went all the way to the United States Supreme Court, and I still say those people are corrupt in the United States Supreme Court. If they did not read they didn't even read it, I tell you, not one justice read what I put out there. My claim was dismissed by a clerk. And that is not America. We don't live in America if we can't rely on the legal system. I watch what's happening to Donald Trump, where you get to pick a particular jury, and I know exactly what's going on. I'm no idiot, and neither are the rest of Americans. We know exactly what's going on. And it's pitiful that we are living in a time where we should have the best, the strongest, the most secure, the most honorable legal system in the world, and it's run by a bunch of crooks. It's all about power. It's all about money. You could get me ranting on this topic for 100 years, but start at the end. You go read my Supreme Court brief. You can download it. If you can't, how about you send me an email? I'll send you a copy. And you tell me it doesn't at least interest you in knowing what the real story was, and every word of it is true. And they're all a bunch of corrupt, lying scammers. And I especially leave that to the heads of the Missouri Bar, who destroy people when they feel like it. If you become a target, and it won't be any big firms, it'll be smaller time guys. And I'm nobody vastly important. I just cross swords with the wrong government head. And that is wrong in America. You cross swords with the wrongest head. Tell you what, never believe the stories that when the government comes and is protecting the public and going after one person, Donald Trump, don't believe it, because they will destroy anyone that gets even remotely in their way. You bump up against that corrupt system, you'll be a victim. You'll be a target. I'm not a victim. I mean, I am who I am, and nobody's going to change that, lawyer or no lawyer. And I will stack myself up against any lawyer in the country, and I'm not afraid of anyone or anything. A lot of people kick the shit out of me if they feel like it, but That'll happen or not happen, and I'm still not afraid of it. But I'm not afraid of a system that in fact I do not honor a system that does not take care of. It does not protect the rule of law. We hear all this discussion about, the rule of law and how Donald Trump breaches the rule of law. I got news for you. Just hearing those words, I don't believe it because I know what they did to me. And I don't believe it. And if the government is coming after you, don't trust that either, because it's usually because they're targeting you for something. They're targeting you for your views. They're targeting you to shut you up. They're targeting you to take away something. Meanwhile, we got people that come in there, you kiss the right ass, you're a billionaire in no time. You know, I mean, there's people, I watch people, you know what, I won't even say that, but you watch people who aren't qualified to run a 7-Eleven, and they're running the huge arms of the government, and they can't put a sentence together, and you're wondering, well, you know how they got it. There are sayings in the army about those type of people and how they get promoted, and it's the same in all walks of government life. If I have a point to my story, by the end, I would like everyone we need a serious discussion in this country. I saw something that Donald Trump was proposing it. He said he was proposing overhauls in the legal system, which I strongly support. They're corrupt. And my story can be used as a perfect example of that, as can many of Donald Trump's. And that's on the judicial side of the house. There's no way that our founders gave them lifetime positions, but the corruption on the federal court levels is unbelievable. And it's not, these guys, when you make a decision, you don't make a decision based on the law. You make a decision based on politics, and then go back over 250 years of law that have prior decisions that have been made, and cherry pick little pieces of it to fuck the right people, to screw the person who you've already made your decision about. As a judge, you made your decision politically, just like they all do. You make it politically. You know, I'm not talking criminal. I'm talking more on the civil side. I'm talking more on anything that's a big picture item. The recent discussion about the 9-0 Trump victory, I guarantee you that decision was made because they knew that they cannot have something except a unanimous voice. So they have to have a unanimous voice. In that's got to be, that could be a destroyer of the very system that we have if they mess that particular case up. You can't have voting become questioned, and they knew politically. These guys are not stupid, okay? They're corrupt and politicized and very, very polar, but they knew that if they made anything other than a unanimous statement, one way or the other, that the very country could collapse. And so that's a political or a theoretical protection of democracy type of decision, right? So if they made it a 5-4 split or something like that, then it wouldn't be taken as, there's potential turnaround, there's potential to change it. A 9-0, you're going to have a lot of trouble coming back and saying that they wanted to stop rogue political actors in the states from attacking what's going on in the country and messing up the ability to control national elections. And these national elections, I agree they shouldn't be controlled by the states. We should have some kind of a system. I can't believe that we as a government don't have a system. And there's something big happening in the United States. I hope that I'm not alone. And frankly, I don't think I am. I've talked to too many people that think like me, that are willing to risk like I took a risk. I could have paid off twice. I could have paid off. It's a lot of money, but they fined me basically in my absence without a hearing, without discussing with anyone, and that story is out there. Read it. if you don't see it, I'm probably ranting a little bit now. In fact, I know I am, and I'm going to try to tone it back a little bit because I don't want to rant. This story's not about me. This story doesn't have to be about me. I'm an example of what's going on in the entire country, nationally, and especially in Missouri. You bump up against the wrong people in Missouri, they will kick the shit out of you. And that's what they did to me. And I'm not alone. They've done it to others. Our governor, it happened to him, whatever his name was. He was a little bit flaky anyway, but I campaigned for him a little bit. I met the guy, thought he was a decent guy, thought he had a good history. And if you come up against somebody like that and they scare the hell out of you, or they will take you down. And if it means throwing a girlfriend your way, if it means, and what one of us is against having a beautiful woman come and, that they send these women. I had them send women to my office for me to have sex with. Send them to my office when I was practicing law. They try to trap you as you're practicing law. What kind of freaking country are we living in where the bar and people that are organized for the bar will send a woman to your office to try to trap you into having sex with her so they can come and take your license away? They didn't need that in mine. They had to come up with something else on mine. I had plenty of women that I could have slept with, that I didn't need to pick up the ones that are coming to my office to hire me to be a lawyer. But that's the type of activity we're talking about that they do in Missouri. And I'm sure they do it elsewhere. But the Missouri legal system is extremely corrupt. You have a Missouri system that is called nonpartisan judicial selection, right? And nobody knows what it is. Nobody can explain it. I challenge you to go read it. You know who picks your Supreme Court? It's the bar. The Missouri bar picks your Supreme Court. So if you kiss the ass of the Missouri bar your entire career, or whatever, some of them don't even have a career, they've not done anything, and usually they work for the government. I'm not downplaying any of them. They all seem relatively nice. I looked into them, but they're a different type of lawyer. They're not a type of lawyer who's fighting for this person or that person. They're a type of lawyer who's weaseled their way through the system and been appointed for a judge or had the right political connections. That's who gets these positions. And then they get to go, or they're from school, have never practiced law. They just go somewhere and they become it. Well, in Missouri, they have a nonpartisan selection. I'm telling you, that is corrupt. And you do not need that to happen. So basically what it is, and it could have changed a little bit over time, and I'm not an expert on it, but I know a lot about it, and you can go read it and back up what I'm saying. But this nonpartisan judicial selection is a freaking joke. It came about in the 30s and 40s. I think it was 1938 or something like that, where they were having a lot of problems with unions. And these unions were picking the next Supreme Court basically through their political activism in St. Louis, or on the other side in Kansas City. And those mafias and those corrupt organizations in the unions were not on the same page. They didn't pick the same people. They wanted to make sure that their particular union got the most power back then. And we all know what happened. We weren't there, but we know what happened. Don't think it's any different today. But today, what they did in the 30s and 40s was both of these organizations were causing all kinds of problem, and the people were starting to see it. And all the stuff you're not supposed to notice about our corrupt system, all the things you're not supposed to notice, were very noticeable to the public. And the public knew that the public had very little trust in the system. So some genius came up with the idea to give all that power to a nonpartisan bar selection, right? And this nonpartisan bar selection, which maybe at the time was needed. I don't think it's needed now. They need to come up with a different system, because people don't understand that system. If they say they do, they're lying or they're selling you something. If they're saying it's a nonpartisan selection and they're saying it's a good thing, it's because they're either lying to you, being intellectually dishonest, or they're part of the system themselves and are waiting for their next appointment to a higher court level. So basically, this nonpartisan committee is appointed, get this, there are 6 members of this nonpartisan selection committee, which gives 3 candidates to the governor that he must pick one of those 3. He doesn't get to pick 3 and send them to the bar and say, here are my 3. You decide which one is better. There's no like approval process like there is on the federal level. There's a, the Missouri bar. So it's a 6-person committee. 3 members are appointed by the Missouri bar. So you take the most corrupt idiots in the city of Jefferson, which is where where the hive of this little corrupt cabal is, and that hive, then those 3, they get to pick who gets to be part of the hive and who doesn't. As a young lawyer, join the fucking bar. Join the bar, start going to all their meetings, start being active, and join in, because otherwise they'll target you and kick your ass if you say something against them. Don't do that. Lick ass just like a good little puppet, and you'll be just fine. Or change the system. The Missouri bar is what's corrupt, people. And the bar has, so they picked 3, so 3 lawyers picked from the bar get to pick, and then the governor picks 3 people that he wants. So the governor gets a little bit of say in who the 3 people are, but he don't get to pick the 3. The Missouri bar gets to pick the 3, which are very Democrat, by the way, in the bar. You're never going to get a Republican in there in the first place. And the higher you go, the more Democrat it is. And it's been that way forever, and it's not going to change. But remember, both of the unions way back when, both in Kansas City and in St. Louis, were also Democrat. So if you got a Republican, it was by luck. And they destroy Republicans. Look at old, what's his nuts? I forget his name even. The governor they ran off after about 8 months or something, accusing him of cheating on his wife and whatever, gave him personal problems, and off he went. And he was a pretty smart guy. I listened to him speak. I watched him do what he was doing. And he was a decent guy, whether he was screwing around in his wife or not. All of them are up there screwing around in their wives. Don't think that he's alone. But they'll target you and destroy you for cheating on your wife when they all have in the state capitol, they all got their interns and people that they pick just because, that's the way it works in the system. And trust me, I can tell you stories about that too, because I saw it personally. Okay. And I'm so tired of people acting like, oh geez, it's the legal system and it's the best system in the world. They're a bunch of crooks. And they've all been a bunch of crooks. Shakespeare said it years and years ago. Don't think that the people who run the government, which are lawyers, 90% of them, don't have an ultimate goal. They sound pretty good. Heck, I sound pretty good. If I want to say something, I can do it in Russian and in English. And I can still come off pretty well in both languages and tell you what I'm thinking and tell you what the system is and tell you what I think about our corrupt America. And if you want to use me as an example, please do. And I do tend to rant a little bit, as you know. But let me finish up about how this nonpartisan selection gets selected, because it's horseshit. These guys get selected with a 3-person that are appointed by the governor and 3 persons that are supported by the bar. So if these 3 people come in, they're non-lawyers, the governor picks. You tell me that they're not going to be controlled by these people that are from the bar. They're absolutely going to be controlled. So who gets to pick your Supreme Court judges and ensure that the system stays just as corrupted as it is right now? The bar. And the bar gets to pick who wins and who loses. I'm the loser in this scenario, but I'll challenge anyone to read my story and tell me whether you think. And I'd be happy to discuss it in any detail that you want to discuss. You want to talk about clients that they enticed, coerced into saying bad things about me? Great. Let's have them on and we'll talk with them too and find out which way we go here. Because most of them really liked me until the bar got involved and convinced them that they didn't. And so I'd be happy, but nobody wants to hear that story, including the Supreme Court of the United States, which not a one of them read my brief when I sent it up there. It was read by some clerk and shuffled off, just as the other 1,000 cases a session are. And that needs to be explored by Donald Trump, or Biden will never explore it. The only reason I say Trump is because Biden will never do it. That's the Democrat power right there. That's how they keep it. They have these secret procedures with how these cases get examined in the Supreme Court. There's no procedure. There's no 3 judges that reviewed it. Even at the appellate level, they didn't review it. They had 3 judges. They didn't review it. They didn't even read it. And if they did, and then they put themselves in my shoes, they'd have done something different. And you can call it sour grapes. You call it whatever you want. I'm not going to say I'm over it right now, because I'm not. You steal somebody's life, very life, and the way that you attack them is corrupt. I got zero respect for you, and I'm nobody. And I never was anybody. I was just a guy trying to make a living and having a good time doing it, and taking care of a lot of people. There are a lot of people who thought very highly of me when I was practicing law. Of course, they can't say that now. The Missouri Bar sent letters to my daughter. In fact, they represented my daughter against me in a case. Represented my daughter against me in a case, and while representing her, told her that I had stolen from my clients. Yep. Turned my own daughter against me by saying that I stole from my clients. I never stole a goddamn thing from my clients. And you can bring on any client that says otherwise, but they won't do that either. And that didn't happen. And they alleged that I didn't refund some money to people that I should have, but I wasn't a part of those hearings. I wasn't even allowed to participate. I was in another country the whole time. Never even knew about half of them. And they never, I was not permitted. Their own procedures don't allow me to be involved. Any other license in the Missouri, that's not allowed. But the Supreme Court of Missouri supports it if it's against lawyers. The lawyers can go off of hearsay, bad commentary from anyone. You can just say, this lawyer, let's go say it. Go say it about any lawyer you want. You want to get a lawyer in trouble? Make sure it's a small firm lawyer, because they can never do it to large firm lawyers. They give licenses back to guys who went to prison. Guys go to prison for theft. Guys go to prison for lying to the court. For really standing in front of the court and perjuring themselves. And those lawyers get their licenses back in Missouri. Nope, not Samuel Trapp. No. He allegedly stole from his clients 10 years ago. He ain't allowed to have a license back until he pays us $70,000. Go look at it. It's a very interesting story. In no other profession in Missouri would this be acceptable, but it's acceptable for lawyers. I mean, imagine you going to some other licensed person, let's say a real estate agent. And I'm a licensed real estate broker in Missouri. If I'm a thief that stole from his clients, how in the hell can I be a licensed broker in Missouri? If I stole from my clients, I guarantee you they shouldn't be giving me a license to be a broker in Missouri. I didn't steal from any client. I've never been charged with stealing anything from a client. I have never had a complaint that I stole from a client. Never. But that is what they told my daughter as to why I don't practice law in Missouri anymore. It's not true. It's absolutely not true. But that's what they claim. And it is... I have an interesting story, and I think people should pay attention to it, because we have a corrupt system. Missouri especially is corrupt. I sent letters to Josh Hawley, nothing, not even a response. I sent letters to the Judiciary Committee in Missouri. I got a letter back from one that said, well, I understand. In fact, it was he that brought it up, not me. I didn't approach them and say the Supreme Court of Missouri is corrupt. He sent me back an email and said, Mr. Trapp, I am going after the Supreme Court because they are corrupt. That was him, Judiciary Committee member from the Missouri House of Representatives. Sent me a letter saying the state of Missouri Supreme Court is corrupt. I didn't say it. He said it. And I say it. I think it. I've always thought it, that it's a BS system for how we select the people that are running the legal system in Missouri. It's corrupt. If it's corrupt, how can you have a non-corrupt group? You can't. It's corrupt. And if it's selected the way we know it is, that's also corrupt. And I don't know. I tell you what, I'm glad you listened to me rant. I hope you listen to me rant. I'm going to have more rants as we go along, but somebody really needs to look into this. Somebody needs to look hard into this because it's at every level. And I'll calm down a little bit and tell you my idea. Term limits, Mr. Donald Trump, are extremely important, and they're important at every level. This starts out when you are appointed as a federal judge for life. And a lot of people are in the same boat. So if you're appointing a judge in Missouri, guess where they come from? The Missouri bar. They have a huge influence on it. The president gets to pick them. But where do you think the president is getting the ideas for candidates that live in the area? He's getting them from the Missouri bar. And they use the same corrupt process. And so they appoint, when you're appointed as a federal judge, it's because you know somebody. It's because you know somebody who will put you in the pot to be picked, and you hope that you get picked for that because you know you're untouchable for life. That is a problem. Untouchable judges for life is not what people intended. And it may have been what they intended 250 years ago, but at that time, they had a 20-year shorter lifespan. People weren't living to 80 and 90 years old and sitting in the same spot from the time they're 40, 50 years as a judge, and you can't remove them. There ought to either be a retirement age forced, 65, whatever, like the rest of us, or you ought to have it for a set period of time. That's a strong suggestion, and they should not be appointed for life. Or maybe you could put something creative and say, perhaps these judges, every president, when he is president, every 4-year term, he gets to pick a judge to remove. He can remove a judge and replace it with one of his own. Do something like that, where every president gets to appoint in his term at least one judge. If somebody dies, fine, that's the same thing, because it's the only way you can get rid of them anyway. But, and these are, some of them are legal geniuses. I've read some of the cases. I'm impressed by a lot of what we got there. But the legal genius, I don't believe anymore. Who's getting picked? We're getting picked because we're a certain color or we're a certain gender. Or we have no gender. Our country's gone to hell in a handbasket, and it's because our legal system is screwed. Those are my thoughts. Hope you listen. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm a little bit of a character, I've been told, and I would be happy to discuss any of these topics further in detail with anyone. I've started writing a book about it a couple of times, but I've decided that I'm just going to do mini videos and pick a topic and keep on going. I've gotten through a couple of 3 chapters, which start out where I'm from and how my American Nightmare developed. That's what I'm calling the book, American Nightmare. And I hope you're interested. If you're interested in reading my book, I'm going to do a video just like this, because I have a 45-minute trek to work every day, and I want to post interesting topics. I hope you enjoy, hope you listen. Josh Hawley, you didn't look at all. You Judicial Committee in the state of Missouri, you too didn't look at all. Supreme Court of Missouri, I have no use for you. You're corrupt. And Missouri Bar and the Office of Chief Disciplinary Counsel has a bunch of corrupt actors in there. Too many to count. And they know what they are doing. It'd be different if I could say, well, that was foolish. They made a mistake. They didn't make a mistake. It was intentional. And if they come out against something, I say, oh, geez, he stole from his clients. Wait for that. That's how they attack. They just attack you. And if they attack you, they shut you up. Screw that. I'm no longer shutting up. I've already lost everything. And I had a great practice. I had some great friends. I had mostly positive. But, I'm not the best in the world. I'm certainly not the worst. But what happened to me shouldn't happen to anyone. And I thought our country protected people like me in situations like that. Nope. It attacks us. I'm glad you listened. Hope you made it to the end. Have a very nice day. You can reach me at samtrap1@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to discuss anything with anyone of any substance to get this story out further, because it needs to go further.